Welcome back to Bookkast, where we bring you bestsellers in minutes. And today we're diving into Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney.
Oh, yeah, this was a good one.
Oh, it's so good.
A psychological thriller that'll keep you guessing until the very end.
Yeah. So this story centers around Grady Green.
Okay.
He's a successful author struggling to cope with his wife Abby's disappearance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been about a year since she's disappeared.
Oh, wow.
So he escapes to the Isle of Amberley, hoping to find some inspiration for his next book. But instead what he finds is
Trouble.
a community shrouded in mystery.
Yeah, and from the very beginning, you get the sense that something isn't quite right.
No, not at all.
The Isle of Amberley.
It's almost like its own character.
Yeah, it is.
With its isolation and the strange community of women and these events that are unfolding, it just creates this atmosphere of unease right from the start.
Right, and, you have Grady's less than warm welcome and the strange behavior of these islanders. There's like a palpable tension that just permeates the whole narrative.
Absolutely. And then you have Charles Whitaker,
Yeah.
introduced early on. He's this reclusive author who lived on the island and died under mysterious circumstances.
Right, and Grady's staying in his cabin.
Oh, yeah, which adds another layer.
Another layer of intrigue.
Right. And so Whitaker's presence, even in death, kind of casts a shadow over the whole story.
Yeah, his success, his secrets, and his connection to the island all intertwine with Grady's own search for answers about his wife.
And then there are the islanders themselves, this community of women. They immediately pique your curiosity.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean,
They know more than they're letting on.
yes, and their motives are far from clear.
Right. And it makes you wonder, is Grady truly safe in their midst?
I don't think so.
One of the creepiest things is this recurring motif of the children of the mist.
Ooh, yeah, a group of orphans who died tragically on the island years ago.
Right. And it really speaks to the power of the past and how it continues to shape the present.
Absolutely.
It's like their tragedy has stained the island, leaving behind sorrow and mystery. So as Grady's settling into the cabin, he starts to uncover disturbing things,
Oh, no. Like what?
like bones buried beneath the floorboards.
Oh, my gosh.
Newspaper articles about Abby's work as an investigative journalist,
Okay.
and encounters strange, almost ritualistic behavior from these islanders.
So instead of finding solace and inspiration, he's finding himself drawn deeper into a web of secrets and lies.
Exactly, and each discovery is like peeling back another layer of the onion, revealing more questions than answers.
Right, and that empty grave.
Oof, yes, that empty grave Grady discovers in the island cemetery.
That was creepy.
Oh, it's so creepy.
It makes you wonder if the island itself is preparing for another death.
Yes, absolutely.
It's this master stroke of foreshadowing, creating this sense of impending doom.
Yeah, will Grady make it off the island alive?
Who knows?
As Grady digs deeper, he discovers connections between his wife's work and some of these islands' inhabitants.
Like what?
He finds newspaper clippings highlighting some of the darker aspects of the island's history. And it becomes clear that Abby was investigating something that put her in danger.
So Feeney's really good at slowly revealing information that forces you to reevaluate everything you thought you knew.
Yes, and these connections that Grady's uncovering, they create this sense of urgency, like time is running out for him to find out the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And then comes a major turning point. Grady encounters a woman who looks exactly like Abby, running this pottery studio called Beautiful Ugly.
The name itself is significant.
Oh, absolutely. It speaks to this duality of the island.
Right, this beauty masking this dark and unsettling reality.
Right. And this Abby lookalike just throws Grady completely off balance.
So like he's being haunted by a ghost from his past.
He's convinced it's her, but she doesn't recognize him.
Oh, wow.
She insists she's never left the island.
Oh,
And there are discrepancies.
okay.
Like her eye color, it's like she's a completely different person.
So it makes you question, is this truly Abby or a case of mistaken identity?
Right. And Feeney's playing with our expectations, making us doubt Grady's perception of reality.
Because we know he is an unreliable narrator.
Oh, absolutely. He's haunted by grief and maybe projecting his own desires onto this woman.
Huh?
Grady becomes fixated on this woman,
Okay.
determined to prove she's his wife, but his efforts just push her further away.
It's a desperate and ultimately futile attempt to reclaim something that's lost.
And then during a really tense dinner with Sandy and Midge,
Uh-huh.
Grady learns about this tragic event from the island's past.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
The story of the children who died in that cave that floods at high tide.
Oh, my God.
And it just hangs heavy over the conversation, revealing this shared trauma that binds these islanders together.
It explains their secrecy, their distrust of outsiders.
And their unwavering loyalty to one another.
Right.
And to make things even more unsettling, Sandy's own daughter was one of the children who died.
Oh, wow.
You could just feel her grief.
Yeah.
And you start to understand the depth of her pain and why she needs to protect the island's secrets.
It adds another layer to her character and her motivations.
Right. She's not just a quirky islander.
Yeah.
She's a woman haunted by loss.
Yeah.
And she's fiercely protective of her community and her past.
So it makes you question whether her cryptic warnings to Grady are meant to protect him or keep him from uncovering the truth.
Right, and Grady, driven by his own grief and that growing suspicion that Abby's somehow connected to the island's dark past, he becomes obsessed with finding answers.
He's willing to risk everything to find the truth.
And what I found really interesting is how Feeney uses Grady's unreliable narration to create this sense of unease.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You're never quite sure if what he's experiencing is real or just his imagination.
Right, his paranoia, his visions of Abby, his constant questioning of his own sanity, it all makes you wonder, is he a victim or is he the architect of his own downfall?
And just when you think you're starting to understand the island and its inhabitants, Feeney throws another curveball.
What is it?
Grady's at the edge of a cliff, and he hears Abby's voice calling his name.
Away.
Yeah, so he follows the voice, driven by desperation and a flicker of hope. But the path leads him to a dangerous area called the Orphans.
Oh, that sounds ominous.
It is. It's a series of treacherous peaks shrouded in fog.
So he's lost and disoriented, surrounded by dangers he doesn't fully understand.
He's stumbling through the fog, injured and alone.
Oh, no.
And then comes across something really bizarre, a group of sheep with this eerie, almost menacing presence.
Wow, the sheep are menacing.
They are.
So the island itself is playing tricks on him,
It really is.
pushing him closer and closer to the edge.
And it's a truly unsettling scene. It perfectly captures that creeping dread that Feeney creates.
You can feel the isolation, the confusion,
Absolutely.
this growing sense of unease.
And you can almost feel the fog closing in, suffocating you with its secrets.
So does he ever get out of there?
He does. Eventually, he finds his way back to the path, guided by his dog.
Okay.
And as the fog clears, he sees a figure walking towards the beautiful, ugly pottery studio.
And it's her.
It is the woman who looks like Abby.
This is where it gets good.
All this tension is building. The mystery of this woman, the secrets of the island, Grady's fragile state, it all comes together.
It's about to get real.
Yes.
Oh.
So Grady, drawn by hope and desperation, he follows her and enters the pottery studio.
Yeah.
She offers him a cup of tea, but the atmosphere is thick with unspoken tension. You know, a storm's brewing.
Yeah, I can feel it.
And then, just as Grady's about to ask her about her past, she casually mentions her better half,
Oh no, his heart just sank.
shattering any remaining hope he had of rekindling their relationship.
That's gotta hurt.
It does.
So what happens next?
Well, we're going to have to wait for part 2 to find out.
So Grady's left heartbroken, more alone than ever on this island that holds the secrets to his past and the key to his future.
And that's where we pick up in Beautiful Ugly.
So where do we go from here?
Well, the story shifts a little bit, and we get a glimpse into Abby's perspective before her disappearance.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And it's fascinating to see this woman who was trapped in a marriage that wasn't working for her anymore.
Right. So we see Abby confiding in a therapist, sharing her dissatisfaction with her marriage and wanting a different life.
And it's really crucial in understanding Abby as a character beyond just being Grady's missing wife.
Right.
You know, she's grappling with these feelings of inadequacy and yearning for something more fulfilling.
Yeah. And ultimately taking control of her own destiny.
And we also see a flashback to a pivotal moment in their marriage, this massive fight after Grady publishes a successful book.
Oh, interesting.
Abby's feeling neglected, isolated, and Grady seems oblivious to her struggles.
It's a classic communication breakdown.
Right, and it highlights this resentment and this growing chasm between them.
Mm-hmm.
And what struck me was how Grady's success actually exacerbated the tension between them.
Yeah, it's a poignant commentary on how success can sometimes come at the expense of personal relationships.
Right, and it makes you think about the sacrifices we make for our ambitions and the consequences of those choices.
And then there's that secret Abby was planning to tell Grady, but then after the fight, she wasn't sure she could.
Yeah, that was a detail that kept me guessing.
What could that secret be?
Right, and it adds another layer of complexity to her character.
Right, she's not just a passive victim, she's actively seeking change.
So later that night, Abby has a near-death experience after stopping to help someone on the road.
Oh no.
Turns out it was a trap, and she's attacked and abducted.
So this marks the end of Abby's old life and the beginning of a journey towards an unknown future.
Exactly. It's also a chilling reminder of the dangers women face.
Yeah, especially when challenging societal norms or threatening those in power.
Back on the island, Grady's trying to grapple with this revelation that Abby has moved on.
Mm-hmm.
He seeks answers from Sandy, but instead finds her sister Midge in distress.
What happened?
Sandy's disappeared, and Midge fears the worst, and she leads Grady to this ominously named Darkside Caves.
Oh, that sounds creepy, just the name itself, Darkside Cave.
I know it conjures up images of danger and hidden secrets.
So Grady's search for answers takes a perilous turn.
It does, and this is where we really see Grady step outside of himself and show genuine concern for the Islanders.
Oh, he's not just the self-absorbed writer anymore.
No, he's driven by guilt and a growing sense of responsibility.
Right, he's becoming entangled in the island's secrets and shedding that self-centeredness to be more empathetic.
So inside the cave, Grady finds Sandy.
Yeah, okay.
Well, she's drunk and distraught, and she reveals this really heart-wrenching story about the children's deaths.
Oh gosh, so they weren't just a tragic accident.
No, it turns out they were the result of a man's abuse of power, and the Islanders took justice into their own hands.
So they're survivors bound by this shared trauma and this dark secret.
And it makes you think about the nature of justice.
Right, is there ever justification for taking the law into your own hands?
And then, of course, just when Grady thinks he's starting to understand things, he sees the woman who looks like Abby again.
Oh no, not again.
She flees into the cave, leading him deeper into the mystery.
Like a phantom leading him down a rabbit hole.
Exactly, and he follows her.
Of course he does.
And this is where Sandy explains how the children died because of this music teacher who was abusing his position.
Okay.
And they took matters into their own hands to protect their children.
So they've been living with this secret all these years.
It's a chilling reminder that even idyllic places can have dark secrets.
Right, and that sometimes the line between good and evil is blurred.
So Grady leaves Sandy to deal with her own demons and returns to his cabin, but then finds another clue.
Okay, what is it?
A newspaper clipping about a woman who was wrongly convicted of murder.
So Feeney's weaving together these seemingly disparate threads.
Right, suggesting a connection between Abby's work and the island's past.
Maybe a possible miscarriage of justice.
And then Grady realizes the woman in the article matches the description of Cora, the shopkeeper.
Oh, wow. The pieces are starting to come together.
So Grady goes to see Cora, but the shop is closed.
Okay.
And then he runs into Melody, the island's priest.
Right.
But she's not in her usual attire.
So it's like everyone's playing a part.
Right. And their true selves are hidden.
So what happens with Melody?
Well, she tells him the legend of the Children of the Mist.
Right.
But she's very evasive, and she's wearing this silver thistle pendant that other islanders wear.
Okay, so it's like a symbol of something.
Exactly. It creates this unease and reinforces that the island is steeped in secrets.
And these women are bound by something much deeper.
And finally, Grady shows Melody the photograph of Abby as a child. She recognizes her, but claims she hasn't seen her in years.
Oh, wow. So Abby definitely has a past on this island.
And Melody knows more than she's letting on.
But does she tell him?
Just as she's about to share more, this thick fog rolls in.
Oh no, not to fog again.
And it creates this disorienting atmosphere of confusion and uncertainty.
It's like the island itself is trying to keep the truth hidden.
Lost in the fog, Grady hears his dog barking and follows the sound to the edge of a steep cliff.
Oh.
And that's when he sees her,
Abby.
standing at the bottom, waving to him.
Wow, she's alive.
He rushes down to reach her. But as he gets closer,
What? What is it?
Abby looks different.
Different how?
Her appearance has changed, but it's definitely her.
So she's undergone some kind of transformation.
It makes you question her true identity.
And the life she's been living on the island.
He reaches her, overwhelmed with emotion, but she steps back, her eyes filled with fear and confusion.
Oh no.
He calls out to her, but she whispers, "I don't know you."
Those 3 words just shattered everything.
The ultimate betrayal.
It's a confirmation that the Abby he knew is gone.
This is a chilling ending to this part of the story, leaving us reeling and desperate to know what happens next.
I mean, just shattered. Where do we even go from there?
Well, in Beautiful Ugly, Grady's in complete denial. He refuses to believe that she's truly gone. So he tries to jog her memory, showing her pictures and recounting stories from their life.
Oh, it's got to be heartbreaking.
It is, this desperate attempt to reclaim a lost connection.
It speaks to the power of love and how far we'll go to hold on to those we cherish. But it doesn't work right.
No, this woman who calls herself Isla remains steadfast in her insistence that she doesn't remember him or their life.
It's a mystery that deepens with every page.
And it raises so many questions. Is she truly suffering from amnesia? Is it a defense mechanism, or is something more sinister at play?
Right, right.
What struck me was how Feeney portrays Isla. Despite all of Grady's emotional turmoil, she remains calm and collected.
Yeah, almost like she's observing him from a distance.
Exactly. It adds another layer of intrigue to her character.
It really makes you question her motives.
But she leads him back up the cliff, assuring him that she's safe and that she lives nearby.
Okay.
But there's a sense that she's not being totally truthful with him.
Right. There's definitely something she's holding back.
Left alone with his thoughts, Grady feels like he's losing his grip on reality.
I can only imagine.
But then he gets a lifeline. Midge contacts him through his walkie-talkie.
Oh.
Frantic, because Sandy's disappeared again.
Oh, no.
And Grady, feeling responsible for Sandy's safety, decides to go back to the case.
That's brave of him.
He remembers Sandy's warnings and can't shake this feeling that something terrible is going to happen.
That's insightful. He's not just focused on his own problems anymore.
Right, he's beginning to show concern for the Islanders.
Yeah.
So he gets to the cave just in time to see Sandy teetering on the edge of the cliff.
Oh, gosh.
She's drunk and distraught, ready to give in to the darkness
You realize how much pain she's in.
and the weight of the secrets that she carries.
It's powerful.
But Grady manages to pull her back, saving her life.
Wow, a real hero.
And he earns a newfound respect from the Islanders.
So it's a turning point in his relationship with the community. He's not just an outsider.
Exactly. They see him as someone who understands their pain.
Mm-hmm.
So back at Sandy's house, Grady sees Isla taking care of Midge.
Okay.
And he's struck by her competence and compassion and the way she's moving around, like she's been there many times before.
It reinforces that connection she has to the island.
Right, but the question still remains, who is she?
Yeah.
Later that night, Grady confronts Isla again about her memory loss.
Still trying to get through to her.
But she remains unmoved.
Gotta be frustrating.
It is, but then, in a surprising turn of events, Isla suddenly remembers this red harmonica.
A harmonica.
Yeah, this childhood treasure that was lost in a tragic accident.
Okay.
And Grady remembers it too. It was a gift from Abby's godmother, Kitty.
Oh, wow. So maybe a little bit of Abby is still in there.
So Grady races to the old phone box in the village to call Kitty.
Does it even work?
It does. He pours his heart out to her, tells her everything that's happened.
He's finally able to connect with someone.
Right, and Kitty's horrified and promises to come rescue him. But as he waits for her, this growing unease sets in.
What do you mean?
The Islanders are acting strange. He feels like he's being watched.
Like something's about to happen.
He overhears them talking about him, finds a newspaper clipping about a case of domestic abuse Abby investigated.
And then he confronts Cora.
And Cora confesses.
Oh, wow. What does she say?
It explains everything. The Islanders' secrecy, their distrust of men. They created a refuge where they can heal from the wounds inflicted by men.
It raises questions about gender roles, power dynamics, and the nature of justice.
And are their actions justified?
It's complicated.
Grady tries to leave, but he's trapped. The ferry's not running. The phone's dead.
Oh, no. He's completely cut off.
So he steals the Islanders' Land Rover and races to the old radio tower, hoping to send a distress signal.
Is he successful?
No, he's surrounded by the Islanders, and they take him to the village church.
And what's waiting for him there?
A group of women dressed in black, and sitting next to Isla is Kitty.
Kitty, what's she doing there?
Grady demands to know what's going on, and Kitty drops a bombshell.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat.
She's been orchestrating everything. She brought him to the island to punish him for what he did to Abby.
What?
He denies it, but Kitty has proof. She knows he tried to kill Abby.
So he's the bad guy?
It's chilling, the people we think we know.
Right.
Kitty found Abby after she ran away and brought her to Amberley.
So Abby's safe.
And then comes the final twist. Kitty reveals Grady's latest manuscript, the one he wrote on the island.
What about it?
It's the story of his own downfall, a confession.
She's gonna publish it.
Exposing him for who he really is, he'll lose everything.
Wow, what a story.
Beautiful Ugly is more than just a thriller. It's about human nature, secrets, and consequences.
And don't forget the power of female bonds.
And that wraps up our deep dive into Beautiful Ugly on Bookkast, bringing you bestsellers in minutes. Until next time, happy reading.